Hello, everyone. This is Ellie Crumples with Freckle Education. Welcome to today's Intro to Freckle. I can see that we still have a few individuals logging on, so I'm going to go ahead and give them another moment here to get connected, and then we'll dive right in. Fantastic. So before I do get started, I do want to ensure that everyone here can both hear my voice and see my screen. So if you wouldn't mind doing me a favor, at the bottom of your screen, you should see a chat box. Go ahead and locate that chat box, and if you can see the slides that I'm sharing and hear my voice, go ahead and type in the word piggy, as in JT the piggy that you should be seeing on your screen now. All right, the piggies are rolling in here. Fantastic. That means I can go ahead and get started. So again, my name is Ellie Crumples, and I am part of the Freckle team here. I share this slide with you because today's training is only 30 minutes, and we can't possibly cover everything that there is to know about Freckle in that amount of time. So instead, I'll be covering the basics in order to get you started and so that you can begin using Freckle in your classrooms immediately. But I want you to make note of my email address. That is my personal email, and you can feel free to reach out to me after this session if you have any follow-up questions or concerns, and I'd be more than happy to touch base with you. So before I begin the training here, I'd love to learn a little bit more about you all. So if you could go ahead and locate that chat box again at the bottom of your screen and type in your experience with Freckle and your grade level. So for instance, you might type in new if you're completely new to Freckle, and 5th grade if you teach 5th grade. I just want to get a better sense of who's on the line so that I can customize our training here. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of newbies, which is great. We will definitely cover the foundation here. And a lot of elementary school teachers, looks like. 3rd grade, 5th grade, 6th grade. That is fantastic. And again, that helps me better gear the training towards you. So I like to start off by giving you a little bit of context about us as a company and our mission. Freckle Education was founded in 2013, and our mission has remained unchanged ever since that time. And that is to ensure that every student gets a world-class education. And we believe that the key to doing so is by empowering teachers to reach every student at their individual level. So we've created a differentiation platform that allows students to work at their own levels across all 4 subjects, math, ELA, social studies, and science, and in which teachers can track the progress of both their students and their entire classroom, and unlocks really key insights for administrators to tell them more about how their school is performing. But the stat that we are certainly most proud of is that Freckle is ranked #1 by teachers on the Common Sense website. And one of the things that you should know about us is that our company is pretty much made up primarily of former educators. And so we care very deeply about teachers. And so we are thrilled that we have a perfect 5-star rating by our fellow educators on the Common Sense website. And I mentioned this beforehand, but Freckle is a one-stop shop for all of your classroom needs, which means that students can practice across all 4 subjects, math, ELA, social studies, and science, at their own individual level. And I'll be telling you a little bit more about that today and actually giving you a peek inside the teacher and student dashboards. So with that, I'm going to transition over to the teacher dashboard and show you what that is all about. Okay, so when you are creating your Freckle account for the very first time, you'll want to visit classroom.freckle.com. So you can make note of that web address, but if you forget it, you can always just do a simple online search for Freckle Teacher Dashboard, and it'll be the first thing that pops up for you. And if it's your very first time visiting this page, you'll notice at the very bottom it says, don't have an account yet? Create one. And so that's how you'll go ahead and get started, is you'll just click on that button and you'll be prompted to enter your email address and create your personal teacher account. For today's purposes, I'm going to pretend that I've already gone through that step and I'm now just revisiting this page to log back in. So again, classroom.freckle.com. I will enter my associated email address and password, and then I'll log in. Perfect. So the very first step that you'll want to take when you log into your teacher dashboard is to go ahead and get started, is to add your class to a roster. So to create your class roster. So what you'll do is you'll navigate to the left-hand side of your screen, and you'll notice that the second option down is roster. You're going to go ahead and click that button, and we're going to add a new class. So you'll notice that there's this plus sign to add a new class, and that's the very first step that I'll take. I have the option here when I press that button to do an import from Google Classroom, but what I'm going to demonstrate today is the manual entry, which is quite easy. So to get started, you'll simply give your class a name. So I'm going to say 3rd grade, but you can make it any name that you choose that's clear to you, and then you'll press next. Then it'll ask you what grade level this class is. And so again, because I specified 3rd grade, I'm going to click 3 here and press continue. And next I'll be prompted to add my students to this class. So again, manual entry is very easy. You'll simply type in your student's first name and last name, and then press add student. And you'll do the same thing again, add the student's first name and last name, and so on and so forth for your entire class. You also have the option here to upload your students' information from Excel. So if you'd rather do an import, you have that option. But as you can see, the teacher entry is super easy. It's just a matter of typing in your students' first and last names until you've done so for your entire class. And then you'll press Done Adding Students. And you'll see this dialog box that pops up. It says that your class code has been created, and there's a 6-digit code here. That class code is really important. It's actually how your students will access their student dashboard. So what you'll want to do is make note of that code. A pro tip from some of our teachers is that they have it displayed in their classroom in a very prominent location. Just anything that you can do to make that as accessible as possible to your students will make their lives easier when it comes time to log into their portal. So creating your class is as easy as that. And now what I'm going to do is log in from the student end so you can see what that experience is like. So I've transitioned over to my student dashboard here. And again, you'll see this is where the class code comes into play. So students access their dashboard at student.freckle.com. And again, they can do an online search if they don't remember that page. And they'll log in with their first name, last name, and class code. So I'm going to enter my student's first name. I'll enter their last name as well. And remember, this 6-digit class code is what was automatically generated after you added your class to a roster. You'll notice down here that students do have the option to log in with a QR code. We found that this is helpful for classrooms that may have younger students, and it makes the login process as simple as just scanning their QR code. And then we also have another feature where you can password protect your students' login. So students would be required to input a password in order to log into their portal. But we find that the most common option is the default here, which is first name, last name, and that 6-digit class code. And once I've entered that, I'll press continue. And what I'm taken to here is the student dashboard. So this is what a student dashboard looks like for a student in 3rd to 5th grade. There'll be a different dashboard design for students in K-2 and students in 6th to 8th. It'll be a little bit more age appropriate depending upon what grade your student is in. So again, I'm looking at the portal for a student in 3rd to 5th grade. And you'll notice here that this is the main page. And along the bottom, there's navigation for homepage, math, ELA, and assignments. So a student would click on math or ELA to begin their practice in those areas. And the assignment section is from you as a teacher. So when you assign work to your students, this is where it will appear under their assignment section. So I'm going to go ahead and click on math here. And you'll see that what I'm taken to is a page where students can begin practicing math at their own level. If this is their first time logging in, they'll be prompted to take a pretest. So this student hasn't taken a pretest for this domain. So all they would do is click on that domain and then press Start Pretest. That will automatically bring up a pretest for them. And once they complete that pretest, they'll be placed at a preliminary baseline level. And all of their practice from there would be adaptive based upon that level they've been placed at. The level is auto-adjusted over time with continued practice. So again, these are the pretest questions. Once the students answer all of those pretest questions, they'd be placed at a preliminary level, which is auto-adjusted over time. But what I want to show you is what practice would look like after a student has been placed has completed the pretest and has been placed at a level. So you can see this particular student has completed their pretest and they've been placed here. They're practicing at shape categories. There may be other students in their class who are practicing at more of a beginner level. And there may be some students in the class who are practicing at a more advanced level. Again, the level that the student is placed at is based upon their preliminary pretest and their continued practice over time. So if I were a student and I had already completed this pretest, I would simply click here to continue practicing. And I'm prompted to continue my practice by answering some of the questions on the screen. Some of the things that I want to point out are the tools that exist on this sidebar for students. One of my favorites is this video icon. So say a student gets stuck on this particular problem, they're not sure how to approach it or how to answer it. They can click on this video icon and it will display a similar type of problem being solved. So it'll give them kind of a helpful hint and walkthrough without revealing the answer. So I personally love that feature. There's also this audio icon here. So if a student wants the problem to be read aloud, they could actually click on that and it would initiate a reading of the problem aloud, which is really great. So that's how easy it is for students to practice at their own individual level. I'm going to head back to the teacher dashboard at this point because I want to show you some of the other features that exist here. So you noticed in the student dashboard that there's an assignment section. As the teacher, you have the power to assign work to your students. And the way that you would do so is by navigating to the assignment section under your dashboard. You'll notice that when you do so, all 4 subjects are displayed across the top here. So depending upon which subject you want to create a student assignment for, you'd simply click on that particular area. I'm going to stick with math for this particular purpose here. So I'm going to then press the Add an Assignment button, select the type of assignment, and then you'll notice here that I have a few options related to math. I'm going to select targeted practice for this particular example. This is really useful when you know what particular standard you want your students to be practicing. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. And then I'll be prompted to specify what class this assignment is for. So I'm going to select my class. And then I will be prompted to choose the students. So do I want this assignment to go to 1 student in particular, 2 students, my entire class? So I'll be prompted to specify that. So I'm going to select all because I want this assignment to go to everyone within my classroom. And then I would actually select the standard that I want my students to practice. So I'll select the standard that I have in mind. I can preview that and then press continue. And now I have to designate what skills I'm hoping my students will master within that particular standard. I can select specific skills, or I can select all of the skills within the standard, which is what I'm going to do in this example. And finally, I want to choose the number of questions. I can have this assignment be a mini ticket, an exit ticket, or a regular practice with 10 questions. I'm going to stick with regular practice and press continue. I'm going to review this assignment summary, make sure everything looks correct. That's what I had in mind. So then I'm going to press assign immediately. And as soon as I do that, that assignment will appear in my students' assignments section. So they can begin working on that immediately as soon as they receive it. Now I want to show you some of the reports that exist within Freckle. So in order to do that, I'm going to go to the subject section and I'm going to stick with math here. I'm going to press reports. You'll notice that there are a lot of reports here. These are all very incredible and have different use cases. So report cards are fantastic for monitoring how particular students are performing by domain. These are also really useful to be printed and to have at parent-teacher conferences to provide basically that additional, to show parents how their students are performing. There's a performance by standard report where you can view your entire class's performance by specific standards. There's a class grouping report, So you can create groups based on same level or mixed level groups. So depending upon students' level, this report will put them into same or mixed level groups. It's also really valuable for identifying those students who are able to act as peer tutors or mentors to their classmates. So again, a wealth of reports here, and you can explore those on your own. What I want to do is show you some of the other subjects that exist within Freckle. So I'm going to navigate to ELA here and show you some of our articles. Freckle has a nonfiction article library of over 700 nonfiction articles, and this is probably my personal favorite feature. Each of the articles is written at 5 or more reading levels. So instead of searching for the perfect piece of content for all of your readers, you can actually assign them the same article and they'll receive it at the level that's best for them. So they're all getting access to the same content. It's just at the reading level that's most appropriate for them. So if I wanted to assign an article, I would simply click this Assign an Article button. And I can preview articles by different genres or by anchor skills. I'm going to filter these articles by genre. And then I can peruse the articles from there. If one seems interesting to me, I can click on that article. And what's really cool is you can actually preview that article at the different levels that it exists at. So if I want to preview this at a 3rd grade level, I have the ability to do so. I can see exactly what my students would be reading and the assignment that would be associated with this article. I can change the level and again preview this. If I decide I wanted to assign this to students, I'd simply click this blue Assign button, and it would walk me through the same process of specifying my class, my students, the assignment type, and so on and so forth. And you can see that this looks a little bit different for ELA articles. The assignment type is going to be reading or reading and vocab and writing. And so I'm going to make this extra challenging for my students and choose all of the above. I can assign this article at my students' grade level, or I can do it at the adaptive level, which is the default and what we recommend. If I specify adaptive level, what this means is that each one of my students will receive this article at the level that is most appropriate to them. And again, that's based on their preliminary pretest and their continued practice over time. So I want all of my students to receive this at the level that's best for them. So I'm going to select adaptive level, choose my class, choose my students, and press Assign. And as soon as I do that, my assignment has automatically been created and it'll show up in my student's personal dashboard. Okay, let's explore some of our other subjects here very quickly. Social studies and science are similar in that they're both created around units. You can click on whatever subject you are interested in and preview some of these units. So here's the social studies units. I can view the unit. Each of the units are made up of lessons. You can access the overview here, the resources and materials for that lesson. You can preview the videos and the activities. And what's really fantastic about each of these units and their associated lessons is that they are fully prepared and ready to go. And so this means for you as a teacher, it only requires a few minutes of prep on your end, which is really fantastic. You also have the ability to assign nonfiction articles related to each of these lessons as well. And what's really special about science is that there's actually hands-on experiments that you can run in your classroom, making learning even more engaging for your students. So you can click on the subject at any time and explore the associated units and the lessons that we have already prepared for you and are ready to use in your classroom. And so with that was a really quick breeze through your intro to Freckle. What I want to do now is use the few minutes remaining for any questions that you may have. So again, locate that chat box at the bottom of your screen. And if you have any questions for me, go ahead and type them in there and I will answer them for you. So we have a question that came in, is Freckle appropriate for homeschool? And yes, it is. Freckle was created for teachers in the classroom. However, we found that it's a really valuable tool for parents who homeschool. And so absolutely, anyone who is homeschooling can use Freckle and create an account for free. There's a question here about the difference between our teacher edition of Freckle and our school edition, which is our premium product. So the main difference is that the premium edition, which is a paid edition of Freckle, has unlimited reports and assignments. So there are some limitations in the number of reports and assignments that teachers have in the teacher or free version. However, my advice to you would be to just get started with the free edition. It's really fantastic. Everything that I've showed you how to do today, you can do on the free version. And then after you're familiar with the free version, you can explore the school edition at any time by getting in touch with us. I think we have time for one additional question here, and there's a really good one about, are there any motivation features built into Freckle? And yes, there are. One of the really fun things on the students' end is that as students practice in Freckle, they earn coins, and they can redeem those coins at the Piggy store at various times. Some of the fun things that they can do are dress their avatars, buy them clothing and different items, and students really go wild for that and have a lot of fun dressing their avatars and comparing them with their fellow students. So we found that that is a huge motivation feature for our students, and they have a lot of fun with that. Some teachers have even built classroom boards are related to collecting coins. They have created coin clubs in their classrooms. And so not only are there motivation features built into Freckle, but teachers have a lot of fun thinking of really innovative ways to motivate students as well and get them even more excited about using our product. So that is all the time that we have. I just want to thank you all so very much for joining today's short training. If you have any follow-up questions or concerns, or you want to reach out to us, you can do so at support@freckle.com. We are always very responsive and we'll get back to you shortly. So again, thank you everyone for joining this training, and I'll see you next time.